Live performances all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Comedy Central Radio brings you the biggest names in comedy. All day long, you'll hear the best stand-up comedy from Comedy Central's massive library.
If you ever ask an adult what they did over the weekend and they say they didn't do anything, their faces light up.
Every weeknight, you'll hear 2.5 hours of comedy for your drive home.
The other day, I got jealous of a dog's thigh gap. I'm not proud of that.
Comedy Central Radio, Sirius XM 95. Your home for incredible stand-up comedy. Search comedy on the all-new Sirius XM app.
With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritize customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through Nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Easily to Maxwell.
Get your marching orders from Michelangelo Signorilli.
I do think we've made progress.
Dive deep into the issues with Dean Ovidala. This is where we stand. And challenge your thinking on Tell Me Everything with John Fugelsang.
I'm really proud of my country.
Plus Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman. To hear SiriusXM progress, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now.
I think every
Oh, I see. There you go now.
I think every
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast.
Grando Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlie of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm trying to be I was selected the neighborhood watch person. But some people just don't appreciate it when I try to bring the neighborhood together at 3 o'clock in the morning. But you got to give me some praise. I'll do my best. Today is a beautiful April the 3rd in 2023. No, April the 3rd, 2024. See, I was testing it. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit ya where the good Lord split you. And hopefully he didn't split you too big. If that makes sense to you, I love what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. Got a lot of stuff coming with baseball. Runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Center field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It looks like that ball hit the Tower Bridge in the Sacramento River. You know, there's talk about the Oakland A's leaving the Bay Area to come to the Sacramento Valley. And instead of playing in summertime when baseball has a temperature of about 78 degrees in the middle of the day, In Oakland, they want 105 degrees in the middle of the day. In Sacramento, maybe they'll play all their games at nighttime was only 99 degrees. Never were. You know, you love the Bay Area breeze. You don't appreciate it until it's gone. Like a lot of things in life, you don't appreciate until it's gone. I know Oakland gets about 10,000 fans per game, and some people see even less than that. If they come to Sacramento, I'll talk about that. You got to bring your umbrella and some Mr. Fires because it does get hot in the windy tunnel of what's called the Delta Breeze in Sacramento, California. But I love bringing your Big C Sports podcast. I'm going to also talk about some things for insurance for athletes. You got to know that you got to have protection whenever you play sports. And we deal with that all the time. Want to make sure that people have the right protection and the right amount of coverage. Don't always assume that when you play sports that you have protection throughout your life. If you're a major professional athlete, most of the time those teams will cover for you. They'll have their own insurance policy for you. But if you're not, you got to take care of it on your own. And a lot of people don't know that that's possible. I want to say with Big C Sports Podcast, what I love about it is, number one, I always produce the show. Number two, I direct the topics. And number three, I broadcast all the shows. Number four, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. And then number five, the commercials are done. The stats provided. I even do the storytelling. Runners on first and third. They count full up to the plate. Is Big C. The pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little Riz. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep, if that makes sense to you. Then the show is uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimdale Hills, California. And then number 10, I never missed a show with Big C Sports since working back in the day with the crew at Salem Media. And I really do appreciate that. Now you got people who miss a day in practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. But I never missed a show with Big C Sports Podcast through joy and pain, sunshine and rain. And I really do love the things that are happening with Big C Sports Podcast. I also want to say, when I do Big C Sports Podcast, I want to make sure that people know I'm on a good team. I know you're talking about the Oakland A's, and the Oakland A's want to come from 78 degrees in summertime to 105 degrees. There's no dome in Sacramento, if that makes sense to you. The only dome they have in Sacramento is that layer of fog that wears off in the fall season. But you know, if they do come to the Central Valley, it would be the third professional sports team that left Oakland in the last 5 years. Golden State Warriors went back to San Francisco. Now they're playing at beautiful Chase Center, just south of downtown San Francisco, not that far from McCovey Cove where the Giants play. And we know the Raiders left, and they went to Las Vegas because they want to be around all that glitz and glamour of the Sin City, etc. What do you do bringing the black hole to Sin City? No pun intended. When you bring the black hole to Sin City, mail that distract. And the Raiders are struck gold in Las Vegas. When you see a black hole, you probably had a Raider game. Another war. I remember one time sitting in the black hole and somebody poured some beer on me. I said, man, what in the world? Somebody throwing beer on me? I'm in the black hole at the Oakland Coliseum. And then I started smelling my jersey. I said, man, that ain't no beer. They poured something on me. I didn't drink it, but it sure smelled foul. I don't know if they allow the black hole down at the new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, but you know, I don't think some of the fans in Las Vegas can match the intensity of the fans you had in Oakland that cheered for the Raiders. There was nothing like it. Every day that you went to a game, it was like Halloween. All the people wore their costumes. And then one day I was in the black hole. I said, ma'am, that's a pretty cool mask. You look like the Wicked Witch of the West. She said, that's not a mask, sir. I said, oh, be careful when you're trying to give somebody a compliment. Her mask looks so good. She looks like the Wicked Witch, the Wicked Witch of the West. She said, that's not a mask, sir. And then she's the one that poured that Kool-Aid on me. I thought it was lemonade, but it sure didn't smell like lemonade. Be careful when you try to get compliments, too. At the same time, I love saying with Big C Sports Podcast, I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that always honors California reparations. But before I even get into that, before I always give the praise to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, I want to thank This Is CNN, proud sponsors of Big C Sports Podcast. I want to thank This Is T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. You gotta give that some praise. But I do want to say what I love about giving out the Big C Sports podcast. I also love the PSA. I do it on every show. And everybody has their own opinion about who needs to get what information. 800-GAMBLER, if you're gambling on sports, I always do that. They never miss a moment to suck money out of your wallet. They wear a vacuum cleaner sucks dirt out of your carpet. But for the Veterans Crisis Hotline, they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. Because we all need somebody to lean on, and our veterans need help. I want to give that some praise. They do a great job of helping people get back on their feet, if that makes sense to you. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. And I love the light because I love to shine light on things. I want to make sure that I do what I always do with Big C Sports. I want to pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force. You probably won't hear anybody else in the universe pay homage to them the way Big C does. And I'm not saying it just to draw attention to myself. I believe that they're doing things that are really great for our society. And if you understand the way I understand, I want to make sure that I do my part to acknowledge them. Oftentimes they don't get acknowledged. In my life, I've been told to either lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I like to lead. I don't want to follow. I don't mind following if somebody has a proven track record. But I want to make sure that I want to be one of the vanguards that talks about reparations when it happens. Oh, Big C, we don't believe in no reparations. Well, I'm going to tell you why I do. When you talk about the California Reparations Task Force and the mind is a terrible thing to waste, I want to thank the chair, Attorney Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Amy C. Brown, the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. In fact, sent a package to him for long-term care and helping citizens of United States, as well as California especially, with a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. In fact, I want to introduce this to all of the California Reparations Task Force members because they're a great team, and I've met every single one of them. I want to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. Met him several times. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Councilmember Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. I love giving them all praise. I said give them praise, praise, praise. I also want to give praise to Deborah Lowe. She's on the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. Also has her own economic awareness talk show called Let's Eat. And everybody loves to eat. She sent me the executive order 13985. It was last year on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities. That's through the federal government, also known as the White House. And I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Georgetown University because they pledged over $1 billion for those of you who don't believe in reparations. Georgetown's already pledged last year over $1 billion and counting as of September 2023 to 272 families that were descendants of child slavery that were sold off. They were sold to pay off the debts for Georgetown University. You ever sell your children to pay off your debts? I said, have you ever sold your children to pay off your debts for those of you who don't believe in reparations? Well, Georgetown University, they're right there in the heart of Washington, D.C., not that far from the White House. Maybe President Biden can get a clue if that makes sense to you. I want to thank Deborah Lowe, part of the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project, and has her own economic awareness talk show called Let's Eat. Also part of the RDC team. And she sent me this order last year from the United Nations. And it says that strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. Because reparations are necessary, I want to give that some praise. But at the same time, as people in Denver Hills, California, they're talking about Major League Baseball. We're talking baseball. The city that's coming to the Bay in the Valley. The Bay Valley series used to be kind of the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors. They may be working on the new Bay Valley series called the Oakland A's. Now, maybe, just maybe, we'll find out by the end of this week. They're talking about coming to the Sacramento Valley, about 90 miles east of Oakland, if that makes sense to you, about 100 miles east of downtown San Francisco, if that makes sense to you. But I want to get into why I'm part of my own team and why it's important to me that Big C Sports, I'm always championing reparations. I got a call from the Associated Press. It was March 30, 2023. She printed the article. It says, California reparations. Charlton Curry of Sacramento, California discusses reparations on his Big C Sports podcast and says that cash payments are necessary. And I'm the only sports show in the universe that honors the California Reparations Task Force for every show. And as I'm telling you, they're also going to get the package that I'm going to talk about next with the RDC team. It's a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. I'm asking for their help with that. And can you imagine, as we sit around waiting for reparations, that's something we cannot control. That's up to the Biden administration. I know it was also mandated by California Governor Gavin Newsom, and they had the last task force meeting at the Secretary of State building with Shirley Weber. And you know who was there? Big C Sports was there also. In fact, in a picture, how did that picture happen? It was Alim Shabazz, who's the owner of Crescent Sports Media. He videotaped the whole event, but I happened to be in some of those photos. It's amazing how God puts things together, like putting a puzzle together. And what I want to say is what I love doing with my own team. I know the Oakland A's may be coming to Sacramento to become the Sacramento A's, and they want to say runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little Rays. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. What I love about my team, a guide to protect and transfer, preserve and transfer wealth with RDC Consulting Inc. in conjunction with the law offices of Scott Thibodeau and attorney George Jones. The Missing Link, long-term care solutions by the book, over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare, and you taking care of tomorrow in healthcare coverage in California is called Medi-Cal. So why would we work with the RDC and the Big C team, Big C? Well, I'm glad you asked. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options. Now, I told you, I'm working on a commercial. Now that we may have Major League Baseball coming to the Sacramento Valley, I will promise this to you. Unlike the A's, they don't promise to win every game if they come to Sacramento. But I promise to you, we specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down, if that makes sense to you. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, medical equipment costs, and more. Do you know anyone dealing with skilled nursing facilities? You know anyone taking prescription medication? How about anyone dealing with medical equipment costs and more? Protection of your assets, if that makes sense to you. Because I want to make sure we do that, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. Avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program. You ever hear of probate? A one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. You got to give that some praise. I know you want to shout, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. Well, what else do you offer with the RDC team, Big C? Well, I'm glad you asked. Protection, insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal, planning for long-term care. Avoid probate. You know, the court has a will for you if you don't take care of it first. It's called probate. When you hit home run into the Sacramento River, you could use your own fishing bait, if that makes sense. But they got a plan for you. We can teach you how to avoid it. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. What about fixed access, Big C? Well, I'm glad you asked. Bank account, checking account, savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed indexed annuities. What else do you offer, Big C? I'm glad you asked. Variable assets, real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, and other investments. Over 3 decades of experience. Attention business owners. especially you who do not put your properties in a trust or your business in a trust because you trust that nothing bad will happen to you or your business. Well, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. Oh, Big C, my insurance covers everything. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. My insurance covers everything, Big C. Well, no, it doesn't. And if you think it does, just send a declaration page and we can take a look at what it covers. And again, have you have the opportunity to see what it doesn't cover for you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And when you do, you want to give that some praise. That's my team. And why do we give that praise, Big C? Who are your endorsements? I'm glad you asked. Whenever someone says, do business with me, there's a simple thing you ask. You want references. Who endorses them? Oh, I don't have references. Just trust me. I own several companies. I don't have a trust for none of them because I trust that nothing bad's going to happen to me. Well, if you want to know who our endorsements are, I told you we have people from the California Reparations Task Force, but also Attorney George Jones, Attorney Scott Thibodeau, Attorney George Jones, California Chairman of the Black Chamber of Commerce, also California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation, also Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consultant, also works with many of the top lobbyists in California. He endorses the RDC team. Also, Michelle Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorses the RDC team. When you think about that, those are good endorsements. No matter who you got in your Rolodex, no matter what friends refers another friend over to you to do business for you, to protect your assets or take care of your trust, when you have those endorsements, that's a lot of credibility in my opinion. We also have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consulting, been doing his thing for over 3 decades, well chronicled by media. At the same time, we have Mr. Alex De La Cruz, founder of American Veteran Benefits, been doing his thing, helping veterans. And then we also have the Big C team, Charlton Curry with Big C Sports Podcast, heard all over the world as a business development consultant. You got to give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. Run by leaps and bounds, all sparing number one building teams all over this country to help people guide, preserve, and protect their assets. Because you better believe, if you ever walk into the probate court and you think because you have good luck on your side and that the probate's going to be your best friend, I'm going to tell you, without a will and a proper trust, they're coming after your assets if that makes sense. Oh, Big C, I don't believe that. You don't have to believe it, but you got to know there's a thing called probate. And they love seeing people who don't take the proper measurements to protect, preserve, and transfer their wealth into a trust, thereby leaving your assets exposed. You don't want to walk into the court with your assets exposed. They have attorneys that love chewing on your assets, if that makes sense to you. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. That's what I love saying. The runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home. Say hello to my little Reds. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep because it's true. And I love doing that with the Big C team. Also, I have a special announcement to make. I had a dream last night that I won the Powerball. It's over $1 billion. Now, you keep hearing Big C say, I want to be a billionaire so freaking bad, buying all the things I want to buy. Who was the real guy that sings that song, Big C? I don't remember who he is, so you got to listen to Big C right now. But I heard a dream that I won the Powerball. It's over $1 billion tonight. I'm going to give out the winning numbers that I saw in my dream, and my dream's been coming true. Give me some praise. It's number 10, 12, 25. 35 to 60, Powerball 15, hit deep right field, back to the wall, home run! You know, I had a lot of collard greens for Easter. It gave me a lot of energy. Speaking of energy, I want to tell you what I do love about the Big C team. I want to tell you some things that are important because, as you know, sports is a $1 billion industry. And boys and girls sports is the foundation to this $1 billion industry. And what I love doing with Big C Sports, as I work with some actuaries and been doing it for a long, long time, I want to talk about some of the things that are necessary for coverage when it comes to sports. And a lot of people may not think about it. They may or may not think about it. But something that I'm also making some strong strides into with the RDC team sports injuries. Like, who pays for what? Because I've been covering sports for a long time. When it comes to sports injuries, insurance liabilities are not nearly as black and white as you might think. When an athlete gets hurt on the field, there's often a lot of finger pointing. The athlete might point the finger at the opposing player who caused the injury. The opposing player might point back, and then the coaches get involved. And after all the finger pointing about who's ultimately responsible for the medical care that might be needed for the injury, it's a lot like long-term care insurance. There are a lot of people right now, and clergy, listen up. I know you ask a congregation for the tithe. Oftentimes, some churches take 2 or 3 tithes. We have churches that are doing televangelism where they get on TV and they ask for the tithe and they give the script from the good book, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they all ask for the tithe. And when someone gets injured and they have to go to a long-term care facility or a nursing home, they oftentimes will ask the church, Mr. Church Pastor, you know, I've been tithing every Sunday in church. I even tithe on your TV program. T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, many other pastors around the country that do the televangelism. You know, if you have someone that deals with long-term care, they need someone to explain their options. There's an entitlement that was signed into law in 1966 by President Lyndon Baines Johnson, and he was right there by his side with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's an entitlement. It even says put your properties in a trust. And you can qualify for it, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, and you have the chance to get coached on a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth that's going out to every member of the California Reparations Task Force, and hopefully to the Secretary of State, Shirley Weber, as well as California Governor Gavin Newsom. And I'm going to also send a copy to the White House. You say you want to get reelected? How about help people with a guide to preserve, protect, and transfer their wealth? It's not just me, it's bigger than me. But after all the finger pointing when it deals with athletes, who's ultimately responsible for the medical care that might be needed for the injury? And is the athletic program going to help them? Now, insurance has been a factor into what the programs happen to have as a budget. It might not be the kind of insurance that helps athletes, but it's what about youth sports? When you think about the youth, are those who sustain injuries by playing professional sports, like professional athletes? When it comes to sports injuries and insurance liabilities, they're not as black and white as you might think. And while insurance policies are mandatory for nearly every athlete, it may surprise you who pays for what, especially for medical care and after the end of an athlete's career. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to learn in the Big C team that youth sports with more than 30 million children participating in sports, it's no wonder about 10% of them, age 14 and under, they end up in some kind of emergency room. And for injuries related to those sports, like football, soccer, basketball, baseball, don't even talk about boxing and MMA sports. But the most telling aspect of these injuries is that the majority of them occur during practices rather than games. Nearly 62%, according to a study, happen in practice. Remember, you practice 4 or 5 days a week. You only play 1 day a week if you're in the NFL. NBA, you practice almost every day, and you play maybe 3 games a week. So in the game of who pays for what, it's difficult to determine when an injury actually occurs during practice rather than competition. And one Seattle area high school student-athlete handbook simply states that participants may be covered by the school district's insurance or by a plan that it is equivalent or better. There is no mention of coverage based on practice versus competition. And the stipulation that students can be covered by a better plan puts the onus on the parents to pay for the insurance, even though the students are represented by the high school. Parents and guardians, of course, it should be responsible in general for health insurance for their children. But it's ongoing and it's going too far to ask many of them to provide sports insurance and sports health care. Just like with the RDC team, we talk to business owners and individuals about a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. You get that with the Big C team. And what I'm saying is also my team with the National Black Wall Street Project. I'm so pro reparations. If you don't understand reparations, why they're necessary, you can Google Freedmen's Bank. It was established in 1865. At the same time, it was for African Americans to have a chance to do banking that would actually take their money. It was established by the United States Congress, signed into law by President Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. And would you believe they had 50 white trustees that were in charge of the bank's money? They had taken on nearly $60 million. And they stole the money. And for those of you who say, oh, we don't deserve reparations for the descendants of chattel slavery, that was a long time ago. Well, if someone steals your money, even if it was a long time ago, do you deserve to get it back? What if someone stole the estate of your relatives and you say it's a long time ago? Should they get it back? Of course they should get it back. Before I get into more about the sports, I'm going to tie it into reparations. Because everybody says all these athletes make a lot of money. And they become jaded thinking that everybody has that kind of money. Not everybody is signing a 5-year, $20 million contract or a 10-year, $200 million contract. But think about back to the insurance and why it's important. Most regular health insurance plans, they will cover the basics of a child's sports participation. But once a child becomes highly competitive, separate coverage for sports may be necessary. It can also be argued that more specialized coverage is becoming necessary as youth sports are attracting bigger and more powerful players. If you go back to, say, the 1960s, you would have college football players. Say an offensive lineman might be 6'2", 200 pounds. If you go to 2024, you have college football players where the linemen are about 6'5", about 320 pounds. Even in high school, going back to the 1960s, you would have high school players playing offensive linemen at 6 feet, 190 pounds. And nowadays, high school players all over the country, especially in California, where they have great programs like Modern Day and St. John Bosco and De La Salle and Clovis North, those programs, Sarah San Mateo, Grant High School, Sacramento, Folsom High School. There's a lot of great programs in California. St. Thomas Aquinas out of Florida, Moeller High School of Cincinnati. You have Converse Judson of Texas. You have so many great high school football programs all over the country. Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, Nevada. They're all over the place. You know, you have offensive linemen in high school about 6'4", 300 pounds in high school. You almost have to be 260 pounds to play offensive lineman in high school now. So the injuries are more easier to come by. And that's why Big C Sports is having conversations with athletic insurance companies. Because every athletic event all over the country, they have to have insurance. And then those parents also need to know they need to have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. There are a lot of business owners that insure high school athletics, college athletics. You know those companies, those mom and pop stores and business people that say, "Oh, I don't need no asset protection. I've been lucky so far, Big C. Nobody's ever come and had a slip and fall in my restaurant." I said, not until now, because as I leave, I might slip and fall. Not on purpose, but you talking to a guy that fell down 3 stairs in a state building in California. It was at a reparations task force. I fell down the stairs. I kid you not. You know, I did not spill my coffee. Not once did the coffee fell, because I have such agility. So I called the lawyer to say, I've fallen and I can't get up. He said, you trying to go after the state, a federal building? We don't have the money to take on those deep pockets. And no one would take on my case. But as I heard, the statute of limitation, you have 3 years. My fall happened last year. So I'm calling attorneys that can really take on my case, because I do feel I got a pain. When I fell, I hurt my assets. I feel like sometimes when I fell, I hit the back of my assets. And I hear this lady on television, if something goes wrong, call Big C, because I'm going to start using the commercial. When things go wrong, call Big C, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Now, what if they give me $1 million after I get the $1 billion tonight that I won in the Powerball? But for those of you who don't have the protection, and when you think about college athletics, once an athlete graduates to the collegiate level, insurance liabilities don't charge much, and they don't change a lot, but it does get more expensive. It just does. While the NCAA, that's in conversation as you were breathing with the RDC Big C team, requires all athletes to be covered by insurance, it does not require that all colleges pay for that insurance. Does that make sense to you? I'll say it again because it's important. If you're a college program, whether you're the Pac-12, the Big 10, the Big 12, the SEC, the ACC, the Big East, you know you got to have insurance coverage for your athletic events. And in the past, I worked with a great group of people, and one of them received a package that's sent out today, Mr. Bill McMillan, and he'll be getting that package soon. While the NCAA requires all athletes to be covered by insurance, it does not require that all colleges pay for that insurance. In some cases, as sports medicine specialist, Dr. David Greer points out, colleges and universities, they have limited budgets and cannot afford to fully cover athletes. While many institutions provide basic on-field care for their student athletes, the buck stops when those athletes get injured. And then Mr. Greer writes about the difference between the university, say Alabama, and University of Auburn and the SEC, a large and small market team in the same state. While Alabama covers everything from basic medical and dental for its athletes to their rehabilitation for injuries sustained during an official team activity, Auburn players, the University of Auburn, about 100 miles away from University of Alabama, it only pays for expenses not covered by a family's insurance plan. That's why I want them to talk to RDC team, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Hear me out now. Because if an athlete's family doesn't have insurance, like some of you business owners are too foolish to put your property in a trust because you think, oh, nothing's going to happen to me, Big C. I've never been sued in years. Nobody falls down my stairs until you brought your assets into my office. If that makes sense to you. I've fallen downstairs. Believe me. What if we don't have stairs, Big C? I've slipped and fallen on my assets, if that makes sense to you. So if an athlete's family does not have insurance, the school will then cover that athlete. And covering college athletes' insurance expenses does not come cheap for any school. Alabama paid nearly $2 million 5 years ago. Auburn paid nearly $900,000. Yet so many college athletes suffering from catastrophic injuries, it does not behoove the NCAA and its member colleges to provide more comprehensive care. And that's what I'm saying. People might say, well, you're a college athlete. What do you care about it? Because those families of those college athletes, they need to have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Professional leagues. If an athlete can make it to the big leagues, where they go runners on first and third, Big C up the bat, the pitch, curveball, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run, Big C takes him deep, so deep, put the butt to sleep. At the same time, professional athletes, if you can make it to the big leagues, insurance coverage becomes a different game. Literally, a different game. Professional athletes who play individual sports, such as golf or tennis, they must pay their own insurance. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Team athletes, however, are covered by multiple policies. Leagues such as the NBA and the NHL, they have plans that blanket many of their players. For a league like the NHL, where injuries are prolific and the tactic is smart, these types of policies are based on a modest percentage of the players' salaries. The NBA's policy is only obligatory for a team's top 5 players. Essentially, the starting lineup insurance for professional athletes, it has to do with as much as financial losses for a club as it does with a physical pain endured for an injury. Policies typically won't kick in until an athlete has been unavailable for at least a few months. Now, athletes sidelined for an entire season, their cost to their teams, it's in the millions of dollars. Because athletes of the highest caliber, they carry private insurance, and they themselves are covering the medical expenses and covering potential income losses. When you think about some of these great high-value athletes, remember a few years ago, it was Super Bowl 50, Peyton Manning, who played for the Denver Broncos at that time. He had been injured throughout the season, and he had a neck injury. If you recall that, after Manning's neck injury, Peyton Manning, the Denver Broncos, they guaranteed the first 2 years of his contract. But after that, his salary could have been voided if he hurt his neck again. Now that Manning is retired, he is likely paying a disability policy. He famously stated that he expects to have debilitating medical problems as he ages simply because of his playing days. Listen up, professional athletes. Should the NFL or the Denver Broncos pay for his treatment? As with any other employer or employee relationship, it can be argued that Manning is now responsible for his own medical care. What? Yes. With the continued research into post-career injuries, the responsibilities for covering them will likely evolve. But a lot of athletes, they're in it while your team has you receiving a paycheck. You're in great hands. What do they say? You're in good hands. What's that commercial? Sing it with me. You're in good hands with Big C. If you've taken a fall and you couldn't recover it at all, you're in good hands with Big C. Oh, I'm making my own commercial. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty, sing it with me, guys. Come on. You know the song. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty back together again. But you know who could have helped Humpty Dumpty with a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer his wealth? Thereby protecting his assets when he fell off that wall. The Big C team with RDC 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. You got to get that some praise. One of them, first and third. The count slow. The pitch, curveball. Big C hits it deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. They say the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. And Big C likes hit the deep. That's my story that I'm taking with it. I'm going to talk to you. For those of you who don't believe that reparations are necessary, it's as necessary as insurance. I'm going to let you hear one of the greatest speakers in the history of the universe talk about why reparations are necessary. Now, you say you love Dr. King. If you love Dr. King, listen to what he said about why reparations are necessary. Listen and tell me if you agree with Dr. King.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
What is on first and third? The count for the pitch. Curveball, swung on, hit deep. Right field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. And that's what Dr. King did when he talked about reparations. Because it's real. I know a lot of people, they want to shuck and jive, and when it comes to saying, oh, we can't give no reparations to descendants of child of slavery, they built this country for free. But you know you love getting paid when you do labor. You know, for those of you who are too foolish as a business owner, and you don't have your business in a trust, and you don't have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, so the probate they don't take all your assets, if that makes sense to you. How do you argue that someone else should be entitled to all of your assets, if that makes sense to you? But descendants of child of slavery, from cradle to grave, couldn't bequeath anything onto future generations. But you say you love Dr. King, but when Dr. King told you about reparations, you heard it with his own voice. How dare you say we don't deserve reparations? That's important that you understand. That's what I love about the Big C Sports Podcast. Give that some praise. I'm not about shuffling and driving, but I do want to talk about something that I mentioned earlier in the program, and that is in Northern California, there's talk that the Sacramento area is trying to bring the Oakland A's to the Central Valley. It was reported by the San Francisco Chronicle, the Oakland A's, to meet with the Sacramento representatives today as talks of an interim stadium continue. And then Sacramento Kings owner Vivek Ranadive also is in that meeting today. Don't know the outcome of it yet, but the owner of the Oakland A's is in Sacramento today, and they're talking about things that you need to know about. I know we want to hear touchdown, homer, three-point play, oh man Willie, he's gone all the way. But more than that, what do you do if you're a fan and you're star for sports in Oakland? There's not much you can do. It costs a lot of money for them to stay in the Bay Area, and who knows, they may come up with the money. But they're talking about a possible temporary home for the team, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. In this meeting, it came after the owner, John Fisher, met with the Oakland and Alameda County officials the day before to discuss a lease extension at the Oakland Coliseum, which is a bit antiquated, built in 1962, I believe. A statement of the Chronicle received from the A's is that we appreciate Oakland's engagement, and also we are part of the terms needed to agree on an extension. It says the Oakland A's lease expires after the 2024 season, and now Fisher is now considering what's called Sutter Health Park, used to be known as Raleigh Field, as a temporary base for the team to play Major League Baseball while the Oakland A's transition into their new home in Las Vegas, per the San Francisco Chronicle reports. Now, the Sacramento area had a minor league baseball team called the Sacramento Solons. I believe that was up until 1958. They were here from early 1900s to 1958, and they were trying to become a Major League Baseball team, and then that's when the Dodgers and the Giants came from New York and Brooklyn, and then that went away. And so recently the River Cats been here about a decade and a half, I guess. And now Major League Baseball, what happens to the River Cats if the A's come? They'll figure it out. There's also talk that the A's are trying to stay in the Bay Area and split the same field that the Giants play, Oracle Ballpark. You got to believe the Giants want nothing to do with the A's. They want the whole media market for the Bay Area. The Bay Area media market has been before the country, about over 7 million people. The Sacramento media market, number 20th, about 2.5 million people. But if the A's transition to their new home in Las Vegas, it's still going to take until 2028 for the first pitch. So this all depends on whether Oakland and the Oakland A's reach a deal to continue playing baseball in Oakland until the stadium in Las Vegas is built. Now, in Oakland, they've been having protests outside of the Coliseum, and they've had series with the Cleveland and also with the Red Sox, and they're only averaging about, some reports say, less than 10,000 in attendance for those games. And I feel for the Oakland A's fans. I remember seeing some games at the Coliseum when I was growing up as a young boy. But you can't force someone to stay where the people don't support the team. And there's also talk about building a new stadium somewhere near Jack London Square in Oakland. I think that would be fantastic if that makes sense to you, to build a stadium right there near the water in Oakland. At the same time, how do you turn down $2 billion if someone in Vegas is saying, come down here and play in Vegas, in the glitz and glamour of a city that never sleeps? And they want to build a dome stadium, so when it's 110 degrees outside in Las Vegas in the summertime, it's probably 105 degrees in Sacramento in the summertime. All they can do is put water misters in the Sacramento ballpark, where they would have a dome stadium in Las Vegas. They don't need a dome stadium in the Bay Area because the weather's nearly perfect, nearly always 78 degrees in the summertime with that Oakland Bay Area breeze. So according to the Chronicle, among the Sacramento representatives meeting with the Oakland A's includes the Sacramento Kings owner Vivek Ranadive. Talk about lighting the beam. If he can light the beam in Sacramento and turn the beam green when the A's come to town, that would be amazing. And then he described this as a good friend of the A's owner, the Sacramento River Cats, of which the Kings are a majority owner. are a AAA franchise of the San Francisco Giants. It's just the Interstate 80 corridor, about an hour and a half drive to 2 hours from San Francisco to Sacramento downtown. If an agreement is made on playing in Sacramento, it would be a great thing for the Central Valley. A lot of the people in the Central Valley, they drive to the Bay Area anyway just to see baseball and football and basketball. A lot of the Kings fans used to be Golden State Warriors fans when the Golden State Warriors were the only show in Northern California. Now the Kings and the Warriors are kind of I-80 rivals. We saw that last year in the opening round of the NBA playoffs. But if an agreement is made on playing in Sacramento, the team would begin playing their next season. And the Oakland A's already are working to revise their NBC Sports California contract to make it more beneficial to the Sacramento market. And that's reported by the San Francisco Chronicle. However, one snag, if you can call it a snag, if you think about what happens when you move a major league franchise like the Oakland A's to the Sacramento market, you're automatically going to a smaller TV market. And believe me, these owners, they care about the money. They care about the money more than they care about the fans. That's why they're willing to leave Oakland. They don't care about their fans. But the snag that they're talking about is Sutter Health Park, formerly Raleigh Field. It has a capacity of just about 14,000 seats, which is much smaller than Major League Baseball stadiums. But as I said, as of late, the A's haven't had a lot of people come to their games. So the Coliseum, the Las Vegas Strip, would open no sooner than 2028. And that's reported by the San Francisco Chronicle. So if they leave and they go to Las Vegas, it's still a few years away. So right now, they have options of playing in Sacramento in a much smaller venue. And the diehard Oakland A's fans, they would have to make the drive up Interstate 80. Or they could take Amtrak, or they could take the bus. Whatever it is, they could get here in about an hour and a half, if that makes sense to you. So they could do it. It's not impossible. But at the same time, there's talk about going to Salt Lake City. I think that would be horrible because Salt Lake City has a small market. And how many Bay Area fans would want to go to Salt Lake City to play there for a few years in the cold weather? When the fall comes around, it snows in Salt Lake City. It doesn't snow in the Bay Area. It doesn't snow in Sacramento. But there's a chance that they could go, in my opinion, work out a deal with the San Francisco Giants because you're still in the Bay Area. Players don't have to move. They could commute also, but they wouldn't have to move. It would be a lot like when the Golden State Warriors left Oakland and went back to San Francisco, where they originally came to when they left Philadelphia. And then they moved over to Oakland. And now they went back with the new beautiful Chase Center. But that would be the most logical step. They could work it out. It used to happen in Los Angeles where the Oakland Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams, they played for the same money. When the Rams moved down to Anaheim, got their own stadium, and then the Raiders, obviously, they stayed at the Coliseum, but they came back to Northern California. But look at what happens in New York, where the Giants and the Jets play at MetLife Stadium. So they've done this before with two teams sharing the same stadium. For the sake of baseball and the Bay Area fans, I would love to see them work out a deal in Oakland because they've been there for so long. And now to just up and leave, kind of a pit stop before you go to Las Vegas, what if the Las Vegas deal falls through and it doesn't happen? They still need a place to play baseball. And I'm thinking that it would make a lot more sense if they stayed in the Bay Area. And some people say, Big C, are you out of your Vulcan mind? Well, I'm not out of my Vulcan mind. But for the people in Sacramento that are cheering, we want the A's to come and play at Sacramento, which is really West Sacramento across the river from downtown, about an hour and a half drive from Oakland. Think about how the Sacramento Kings were out of town. They were heading out of here. They were leaving Northern California. It was former Mayor Kevin Johnson who should have a statue outside of Golden One Center, in my opinion. He's the one that convinced David Stern to keep the Kings in Sacramento. They were about to try to go to Las Vegas. There were also talks that the Kings were going to the East Coast. They were going anywhere but Sacramento. They used to be out by the airport, the old Arco Arena. And it was former Mayor Kevin Johnson that convinced David Stern that if we could build an arena, would you let the team stay in Sacramento? And David Stern said yes. I remember that last game they played at the old Arco Arena, which is now torn down. And they built this beautiful state-of-the-art arena in downtown Sacramento called Golden One Center. It's a great basketball location. It's revitalized downtown, and then COVID hit. A lot of businesses went away. They're trying to bring it back, but it's a great place to see a basketball game right in the heart of downtown Sacramento, just about a hop, skip, and a throw away from the Sacramento River, and right across the Tower Bridge from where the Oakland A's will play if they come here. So it's a great opportunity for the Central Valley. At the same time, are the Sacramento fans pulling for a team to be relocated when their hearts were broken when they thought the Sacramento Kings were leaving? And people say, well, that's not my problem, Big C. Well, in my opinion, I hate seeing Oakland being fleeced the way it is. And I hope they can find a way to keep the team in Oakland. If they come to Sacramento, it's just for 3 years. If they find a way to build an arena in Oakland, it's going to be there maybe another 30, 40 years. That's for a lot of people who love the Bay Area and have been there. They've been staples of the Oakland A's. My neighbor, he's a former Oakland A's baseball player, and he doesn't want to see them leave either. I mean, how many people from Oakland will really go to Las Vegas to watch a baseball game? Well, what about the Raider fans? They do it, Big C. But they only do it 8 times a year. You got 81 home games for baseball, 162 games. I just don't like it when teams are torn out and replaced. And for the Sacramento area fans that they want to see this happen, remember, their hearts were almost ripped out when the Kings were about to leave for Las Vegas also. But now they want to cheer when another team is going to come here. You know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I hope they stay in the Bay Area, even though if they come to Sacramento, I'm still going to say runners on first and third. The count's full. Big C at the plate. The pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car when they've been drinking and start driving. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. Anybody who loves you, they don't go upside your head. Anybody that loves you, they don't slap you. Anybody that loves you, they don't punch you. They don't say, I'm only hitting you because you make me mad. I'm only kicking your assets because you make me mad. Don't let that happen to you. Call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, it makes me want to say, reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There was no greater fighter than Muhammad Ali. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I love giving praise to my beautiful family on my mother's side. My great-grandmother, Mamo, my great-grandfather, Pop, my grandmother, Muddia, my grandfather, Hezekiah. They were both seers. They could look at a person, oftentimes tell you about their past, present, and their future. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandfather was a pastor, had 3 churches, owned 2 gas stations. My beautiful grandmother worked side by side with him, named Alberta Curry. I was 8 years old. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. She spoke life into me. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night, always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. My beautiful brother, love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd speak. Always saying go forward. A voracious reader. My beautiful handsome son, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. From a major university, set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back in the days at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before until Big C and the crew. And then shenanigans set in and it all went away. Daisy, you could be anything you want to be. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. You can be anything you want. Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man. Always trust God. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers so I could get the stats for a Big C Sports Podcast, looking up stats. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 podcast platforms. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And now it's streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you, brother. All my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you will prosper. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And as I always do in every Big C Sports Podcast, I honor the 16th president, President Abraham Lincoln, and also Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When he said, President Biden, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Come on, say it, like your heart, mind, body, and soul really depend on it. Sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Say it one more time, as you know you wanted to come to tonight. Sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and hope that you have a super fantastic day.